For this test, I used the card that came with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 camera, which has a capacity of 128 GB, a SanDisk Extreme Pro card with 512 GB, and a Samsung Pro Ultimate card with 256 GB. Costs. On the Insta360 website, one card costs €26.99. The SanDisk and Samsung cards I bought from authorized retailers for the following prices. SanDisk, €62.80. Samsung, €31.95. If we divide the card price by its capacity, we get about €0.12 per gigabyte for both the Samsung and SanDisk cards, while the Insta360 branded card is almost twice as expensive, at around €0.21 per gigabyte. However, for a fair comparison, all three cards should have the same capacity, and if we adjust for that, the final cost is very similar for all three, with Insta360 actually coming out slightly ahead. For a 512 GB card, the price per gigabyte drops to about €0.11. About the tests. All cards were formatted on the computer before testing. I used a Kingston Mobile Lite Plus USB 3.2 card reader, plugged into a USB 3.0 port on a Be Quiet PC case, with an Asus TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi motherboard, AMD Ryzen 5 7600 CPU, running Windows 11 Pro. The testing programs I used were Crystal Disk Mark 9 and H2 Test. Both are free and safe to download. If anyone needs the download links, just leave a comment and I'll share them. When you want to check a memory card, many people think a single test is enough. But in reality, Crystal Disk Mark and H2 Test show you different things, both equally important if you want peace of mind that your card is reliable. Crystal Disk Mark is like a short stress test. It shows you how fast your card can be under ideal conditions. It runs short data sequences and tells you the maximum theoretical read and write speeds, for both large and small data blocks. If you want to see whether you're reaching the advertised speed on the box, it's perfect. But it won't tell you anything about whether the entire storage space is genuine, or if your data stays intact when the card is filled completely. On the other hand, H2 Test goes further. It writes test files to all available storage space and then reads them back to check that what was written can be read correctly. This is how you catch fake cards. For example, if a cheap card claims to have 512 GB but only 32 GB are real, H2 Test will expose it immediately. It also shows you the real sustained write and read speeds across the whole capacity, not just a few gigabytes, like Crystal Disk Mark does. That's why using both together gives you the full picture. Crystal Disk Mark shows you how fast the card can be with large files, while H2 Test confirms that the storage space is real, reliable, and free of hidden errors. If you had to choose just one, it depends on what you want. If you only care about raw speed, use Crystal Disk Mark. If you want to be sure that all the space is real and your data won't disappear, H2 Test was more useful. But if you truly don't want to lose hours of footage or important files, using both is the safest choice. Estimated testing time for a 512 GB card. H2 Test, around 3.5 to 4 hours under normal conditions, with no errors. Crystal Disk Mark, about 5 minutes. How to interpret microSD XC card results. In short, when you use Crystal Disk Mark, the really important numbers are the sequential read and write speeds, sec read and sec write. These tell you how fast the card will be when transferring large files, like video clips or archives. The 4K speeds, which measure performance for many small files, are less important for a video card, but they do show how good the card's controller is. On the other hand, H2 Test shows you the average write and read speeds when you actually fill the entire card from the first to the last gigabyte. This is the real, sustained speed, not just a nice graph peak. The most important thing, though, is that H2 Test tells you whether your data stays intact and whether the storage space is truly genuine. If the final check shows no errors, then there are no corrupted blocks or fake space. So, in short, Crystal Disk Mark answers the question, how fast can my card go, in theory? While H2 Test answers, is my storage space real and safe? And that's exactly why it's worth using both, especially if you want to be sure you won't lose important data after shooting or transferring files. If you want, you can always share your test results with me, and I'll help you interpret them and see if your card is worth trusting. After testing all three cards, my conclusions are: all three are good choices for use with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 or similar cameras. The price per gigabyte is almost similar for all three brands. So, how do you choose? Personally, Between these three, for future purchases I'll pick the one that offers the best warranty. Samsung offers a 10-year warranty, SanDisk offers lifetime, or up to 30 years, while for Insta360 I couldn't find any clear warranty information on their official website. It may exist, but I couldn't find it. I hope this information has been helpful, and I wish you many beautiful recordings, saved safely on high-quality cards.